I mean, it was amazing. It was a gas. The crowd was very welcoming. They were very responsive.
Johnny Depp finally says what at age 62 no one thought it was possible that Johnny Depp would keep 40 years of a secret that wasn't about pirates or scissors. Around the night I quit school at 15 to sleep in a van with a garage band playing music about living in the basement of Hunter S. Thompson is next to kegs of gunpowder about texts that are so violent they shocked the court in October 2024. He opened a show of art that showed what no one in Hollywood saw coming. The painting showed why Disney company leaders why they thought he was drunk on set was right about something the whole time. The journey of Johnny Depp was messed up by everyone. Didn't start out in the spotlight. He was born in Owensboro on June 9, 1963. Betty Sue Palmer, his mother, lived in Kentucky. Worked long hours as a waitress while John Christopher Depp, his dad, was the life of a civil engineer at home was unstable. John was 7 years old when his family had finally moved more than 20 times, choosing to live in Miramar, Florida. His childhood was full of chaos. Parents fought all the time, and though there was a lot of emotional tension at home when he was 15, they got a divorce that lasted for afterward. Scars. Depp called his mother the meanest person I've ever met. But among all the chaos, a spark began to grow in the hot weather of Florida and chaos. With rock music playing in the background out of the blue, Johnny found a strange sense of who he was at age 15. He made a choice that most teens wouldn't make, even dare to think that he dropped out of. He didn't drop out of high school to act or a job because he wanted to play music. Joined a band called The Kids. It was clear they were hungry and set on the band began making noise in Florida's Legends underground scene opens. I liked Iggy Pop, but survival was tough. The group ate cheap food together and slept together. Few scrapes were made on their van. Depp wasn't there, but he didn't care. He was after sound, not comfort. He wasn't aware of this, though. His love of music would soon lead him. 1983, somewhere completely out of the ordinary. Depp got married when he was 20 years old. Artist Lori-Ann Allison when she was 6 years old. Older and full of hope for him both, they moved to Los Angeles with hopes of getting into music. Depp picked up odd job that broke my heart the most was calling people to sell ballpoint pens. He would call people out of the blue every day. Being sold something by strangers. He didn't mind that he was poor. Feeling angry and not sure if the dream was real, even worth it. Lori had faith in him, though. Friends who work in show business, and one was going to change. That friend was always in Johnny's life. Nicolas Cage thought he saw something in Johnny, a mystery, a charm, and a presence. Cage pushed he should try acting, but Depp wasn't sure. But he met with an agent. Anyway, the audition for a Johnny Depp wasn't even in Nightmare on Elm Street. He had gone there by himself. With a friend, but director Wes, his daughter, Craven, saw him. I thought he looked dreamy, and that was enough. Depp got the part of Glenn Lance, a teen who dies violently when a bed eats him up. The movie came out on November 9, 1984, and made more than $25 million with only $1.8 million to spend. That one scary scene set off his and brought him out of the shadows. Then came 1985. Again, everything changed. His band, the When the Kids finally fell down, so did his wedding. Music was all he had left. He didn't have a plan B after school was over. Acting is a strange new world, which was suddenly being opened up to him. The choice was harsh. Keep following the music. That didn't lead anywhere, or jump into the unfamiliar path of film. He chose to act. What at the time looked like fails was going to be the start of. After 2 years, something huge happened in 1987. Everyone knew his name. Got the part of Officer Tom Hansen in 21 Jump Street, taking Jeff Jagger's place at age 24. Johnny Depp was all of a sudden on every wall in a teen bedroom America. The show wasn't just well liked, it was a cultural issue. It looked at things like drugs and violence are tough topics, and made Depp a famous teen around the world love idol. But Johnny didn't like it. He thought he was being put together and sold. He saw that the character is flat and predictable. Fame was suffocating. He began to fight with producers and even tried to get himself. He was fired for wrecking his trailer, the world he wanted to leave, but she loved him. In the strangest way he could have picked roles that made people itch their heads in 1990. He was in Crybaby is a crazy satirical movie by John Depp took the part not because it made fun of teen idols. Water said he picked him because of it. Depp after seeing him with his face on every teen magazine you can find in a store. Johnny used Crybaby to break up that heartthrob look he never wanted. The movie didn't do well at first, making only $8.3 million with a budget of up to $12 million, but over time, it became a cult favorite. Even more important, it made its point clear. Johnny Depp did not want to play by the rules of Hollywood. Later that same year he did something that changed during his career. He worked with director Tim Burton to play the part of Edward Scissorhands was strangely quiet and very sad. Depp played a machine man who was lonely and a pair of scissors for hands that only wanted to be loved. It wasn't like his other work roles. The performance got good reviews from both critics and audiences. Liked the movie. Made 4 times the $20 million it cost to make. And proved what Johnny had been to show that he was more than he had a pretty face and was an artist. From then on, he stayed away from everything safe or expected. He turned down big offers for characters who were misunderstanding, dark, or just plain weird. He said he would never go back to TV. I said I'd rather pump gas, you know. He wasn't after money or fame anymore. Was looking for meaning, and while he was working, was coming together in his personal life. Just as angry as before his divorce, he became deeply involved with actress Sherilyn Fenn. They met on the set of a student movie and worked together for 3 years. They had a strong bond. Enough for a short date, and she even showed up on 21 Jump Street. Jennifer Grey. Depp asked her to marry him. Just 2 weeks after they met, the engagement for 9 months before it took away the fame, the stress, and picture he hated. It was all too much for him. His next relationship would turn out to be well known at the Great Balls of when he met Winona Ryder at the Fire premiere. In 5 months, the connection was instant. Johnny even got a tattoo to show that he loved her. Winona will always be on his arm. The relationship turned into a sign of in the early 1990s, Hollywood romance movies. It was over in 1993. But not before it became a part of Depp's story. Is very intense and passionate and full of real feelings. When Johnny Depp used to play Edward D. Wood Jr. in Ed Wood back, he didn't just act in 1994. He became the Ed Wood had been called the worst man, the best director of all time. In his movie plan, people once chose N from Outer Space as the worst movie ever made, but Depp didn't watch it make fun of him. He loved him. Show his crazy optimism and strange charm like it was a lovely thing. Depp said he looked up to Ronald in terms of performance, Reagan's happy spirit, and the Tin Man. That might sound like something from The Wizard of Oz. It was strange, but it worked, and the movie was made in black and white, and it looked like a love letter to all the weird artist out there who is misunderstood. It also marked the start of something bigger, his long and famous partnership with In Charge of Tim Burton, and they found after 5 years, Depp still sees magic in the shadows. They worked together again on Sleepy Hollow. Depp played Cabad Crane this time. A smart but nervous detective trying to find the killers in a creepy town. The studio wanted someone like at first Brad Pitt, but Depp was not the same. He had in mind for Crane to be soft. He was even shy and scared of spiders. Asked for a long fake nose that looked like characters from the past, like Sherlock Holmes and even Angela Lansbury. The studio said no to the crazy stuff, but in the end, the result was still unique. Crane was no hero. He passed out and freaked out but used math and science to solve crimes. Dan, Dark Fog, Scary Forests, and the theme music by Elfman made the whole movie feel it was like a scary dream, and people loved it. It made more than $27 million, and even won an Oscar in 2005 for art direction. Depp did one of the things he was most talked about Willy Wonka's parts in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but this wasn't the happy, bright Wonka that people remembered. The one played by Depp was pale, stiff, and it was said that he was emotionally distant. Ideas from kids' TV hosts and even based the cut on Anna Wintour from Vogue. Some people liked how he looked and played like Michael Jackson, but Depp said no, that Willy Wonka didn't even like kids. The movie added a new twist to Willy Wonka's having a hard time with his strict dentist father. It was getting darker and without a doubt more controversial. Critics had different ideas. Some thought it was, others thought it was just creepy. But no matter what people thought, the movie made almost $476 million around the world. Wenomed Depp for a Golden Globe. No matter how you feel about it, no one forgot his that same year. Depp played Willy Wonka in a He spoke out about taking on another challenge. Victor Van Dort in Corpse Bride, a animated movie in motion directed by Burton. He was making Charlie and the Chocolate Factory during the day and late at night to record for Corpse Bride was a quiet place to feel sad with his voice. He had to show that Victor was scared. The story made people be kind and grow. A story from the past led Victor from the land of the living to the land of it. Was both sad and funny to read about the dead. During the same time the animation was innovative because it used digital cameras instead of film, which made it clearer. Bride of Corpse became easier to shoot and faster. Another hit for Depp and Burton, getting an Oscar nomination and proved Depp didn't need to be seen to get people to move. In 2010, Depp came back as a picture of the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. They had worked together before. As much that their link felt without a doubt. Depp's Hatter was moving, loyal, sometimes a little crazy, and always happy. Mixed with CGI, the mix is sometimes very sad. With live action and costumes, the movie was great. It felt like a dream, and the movie worked. Earned more than $1 billion by making it Burton's biggest hit. In 2012 was when they got back together for Dark Shadows with Depp as a vampire 200 years old. A guy named Barnabas made it look weird and cool. Funny in a strange way. Critics didn't all I love it, but it showed how far the creative journey began with, from strange stories to big, crazy shows. But one of the most intense parts Depp has ever did was in Fear and Loathing in to play the Wild in Las Vegas in 1998. The reporter Hunter S. Thompson said Depp didn't just look into him, he lived with him. Met in 1994, and things were a mess from the Thompson fired a taser in a bar to start things off. Asked Depp to come over to his house, later used shotguns and blew things up. Moved into the basement of Thompson for 4 months, it was small and full of spiders. Thompson wore his clothes to drive his car and Thompson even shaved his head to match his bald spots. He spent hours of their talks and followed him around everywhere. When the movie came out Depp wasn't even acting, he said. Thompson and they were friends. Deep. That Depp felt after Thompson died. He got his last wish granted by shooting his fire from a 153-foot cannon to The Sound of Mr. Tambourine Man by Bob Dylan. It was more than a movie, it was a connection. Full of love, devotion, and madness. But Depp was good at more than just strange. He played a broken hero in Donnie Brasco, 1997. Played a secret FBI agent who breaks into the mafia. The story was true. It was a lie for 6 years that Joseph Piston to be a gangster. Depp trained with Piston to know how dangerous that life is. Was one mistake could cost him or his friends. Killed Depp and taught him how to talk and move like a gangster and think like one. He had to show how much it hurts his character emotionally not to lose himself caught between to the FBI and the deal with a thief played by Al Pacino added to the tension where the guilt came from. Depp's performance was not over the top. Blow 2001 is scary and deeply human. Depp played George Young, a man who helped bring floods to America during the 1980s. Young worked with Pablo Escobar and made a lot of money but lost everything. Depp then met Young in prison. He wanted to study him closely. To know more than just how Young lived. He thought he even made it up on the spot some lines to make them sound more like the real man. That was one of the saddest scenes in the movie. Shows Young making a tape for his dad. Depp used Young's real words. It wasn't just acting, it was a service. Young's story was crazy and exciting. Very sad that Depp showed it all, from the highs of wealth to the lows of losing his family. They became good friends with and after the fact, Depp said he loved Young from when they first met. Johnny Depp was already known for playing weird, offbeat music people. But in 2003 he did something no one thought he would agree to star in a Disney pirate movie that he brought to. There was more to the screen than just a pirate. When he showed up at the first table read, his words slurred, making a mess and moving like a rock star. Everyone who hadn't slept in days. Executives at Disney thought he was joking. They were so confused that they asked if one of them was drunk, even though he was ruining the whole movie. But Depp not joking. he had modeled his whole show on Keith Richards's, the wild bassist for the Rolling Stones to him in the 1700s. Pirates were the big stars of their time, and Richards was the rebellious in its most modern form, unknown and still standing in some way. Depp even added some cartoon skunk Pepe Lou into the mix, which gave Jack Sparrow a strange charm, and he wouldn't tone down his optimism. Disney could either go with his idea or change him, but they didn't change him. Not only did critics like it, Roger Ebert was amazed and said it was the first in its every atom, said another critic. Was a lesson in how to act funny. For Depp's risky move paid off. He got his first nomination for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe nomination, and even a Screen Actors Guild Award, and all of a sudden the weird guy from indie films became the face of a worldwide event. And then came 2006 Dead. The movie Man's Chest broke box office records. Everything in its way. In just the first Friday and Saturday in North America, it made $135.6 million, and no movie had ever done that before. Made more than $100 million in just 2 days. $200 million in just 8.5 years. The $400 million mark in 45 days. It made more than $1 billion around the world. A pirate movie did things no one thought it could. But Jack Sparrow had turned into the why people came back. A year later at World's End, the third movie came out. It opened in more theaters than any other movie. Before more than 4,300 people in North America, with about 11,500 screens altogether, and it made almost $139.80 in 4 days. Million by the fifth day. $153 million, even with Spider-Man 3, and at the same time, Shrek the Third came out. Pirate by Depp was the biggest hit at the box office. By when it left theaters, it had made $963.44 million. People around the world, the Memorial Saturday and Sunday record until 2022, even when the later sequels grew less fast. In 2011, people still came to see Jack. Stranger Tides made $90.1 million in its first weekend. In the US, but around the world it made $256.30, $1 million abroad in just one weekend. That was the biggest international. When it first came out, it made $1 billion around the world and became the fastest. Disney. Dead Men was the first movie to ever do it in 2017. At Home, Tell No Tales made $62 million. And $794 million around the world isn't as big same as before, but it's still a clear sign. Jack Sparrow was bigger than the movies they did. Then everything began to fall apart. By 2010, The Man Who Pirate began to veer off course. I heard agent Tracy Jacobs say it was like seeing two different people at the same time. The professional DEP was known for being crews would wait until very late at night for hours on set, and sometimes the whole filming. It took days to work on Dead Men Tell No Tells the story of the Australian production team. In fact, put a crew member outside to check on Depp's house and see if he was awake. When he finally moved, the message came through. Out came the eagle, and it wasn't just because he was lazy and used drugs and alcohol. He was always late. It was getting worse. Disoriented or not at all. During the whole movie the shoots became tense and hard to predict. Producers fought behind the scenes over who should talk to him. Even Disney had to make units that are quiet just to handle the chaos. With his own habits were turning into a nightmare at work. Then there was his love story with Amber. I heard they met in 2009 on a movie set. Johnny Depp was a star in Hollywood already. Legend says Amber Heard was young and ambitious and picking up speed. They were filming It Was in the Rum Diary that Depp played Paul Kemp, and Heard were chosen to play Chanel. Chemistry was right away. As the Heard once said, it was torture to work with Depp, but in a way that made her happy. They were both in the people they were dating at the time. Shed with Vanessa Paradis and Taja Vanry, but they were no longer together. By 2012 Depp and Heard started dating. At first, everyone thought they were beautiful. Knew a couple, but not in the news, and red carpets. Things were not at all good. Soon, they would have a love story. This is one of the worst and most scandalous stories. It's known that they got married on February 3, 2015, a small ceremony at their house in Los Angeles, followed by a fancy party was held on Depp's private island in the Bahamas, but it only lasted 15 minutes. After some time, in May 2016, Heard asked for a divorce and a restraining order. She said Depp had abused her many times: physical, verbal, and emotional. At least 3 were named in documents. Times, including one where she said he broke things in their house and hit her. A judge told Depp to do not look at pictures of Heard's face being hurt, swollen, and were all over the news. Depp lied about everything. His lawyers said she was telling lies to get money for the breakup, the kind of public war where no one walks away clean, and then the op-ed came out. December 2018, Heard penned an article for the Post. She didn't say Depp's name, but everyone knew who she called herself had been abused in the home. Depp lost his job right away, especially he played Captain Jack Sparrow. In March 2019, he sued her for $50 million. Telling lies about what she said that hurt his reputation, the Heard fought back. She said she had also lost her job and became a target of hate. The court case blew up. Photos and texts show that it all came out. Each side said the other was abusing the whole world looked to see who it was being honest, but for many it wasn't. It was clear at all. One of the darkest times came to Australia in March 2015, Depp. While making Pirates of the Caribbean, their stay was at Dead Men Tell No Tales. When a fight broke out in a rented house, Depp cut off the tip of his finger, he said. He was hit with a vodka bottle by Heard. The bottle broke and cut his right middle finger. His blood was all over the place. The doctor said the fingertip was discovered on the kitchen floor. Depp, because of surgery, Heard's team was shut down. Said Depp hurt himself. There were pictures are horrifying and show that injury was a sign of the chaos between. No one could take their eyes off of them. They got divorced in January 2017. Depp agreed to give Heard $7 million. She said she would give it all to charity. It turned out that only part of the sum of the money that was due had already been paid. Some of it from Elon and some of it from her, even though he signed a non-disclosure